Okay. Welcome to week 8 training. You have made it. Congratulations. This is a very exciting time because week 8 is all about the advanced group strategy. So we're going to touch on even more tips and tricks about creating your group and of course other group strategies. We're going to dive into a lot more about copy and a few great tips on how to actually get even clearer and better and more refined with your copy. And then of course we're going to do the serve and pivot, which is all about actually getting the data, analyzing it so we can make the changes and refine and do the pivot if we need, right? So really a lot of content in this one. So well done for making it here. Again, we do as usual our little disclosure there, following the process, because honestly, every single part of this, every single week and no matter what business you've got, especially online, this process just needs to be repeated, and you can go back through. And this is why this is the only course you need to get to 10K months and beyond, because you just go back through and you get better and better and better and better. And of course, that research and that pivoting is how we just keep refining. Again, congratulations for showing up and taking the time to invest in you. It is a crazy time at the moment. You are doing an amazing job by coming here, by watching the replay, by going live, whichever it may be for you, but it is going to make a massive impact in your business, especially all the foundations that we are able to build right now. And of course, I believe now is the time for us light workers, healers, coaches, all of us amazing change agents to shine. This is the time. So really clear on that. Again, we have been reminded in a very massive and specific way that safety is number one. We've been speaking about this for, let's just say, the whole time, but now let's just look at the facts. With the pandemic, the epidemic, all of the stuff that's going on right now, let's just be real. Everybody is triggered from their safety and their survival patterns, right? It's at a deep primal urge that people are going out and hoarding and people are doing these things. And this is why we now know that safety is number one, and why we've always been reiterating that you need to feel safe in order to build a profitable and thriving business. It is safe to be alive right now. It is safe to thrive right now. In fact, it is crucial that we use all of these skills in now every area of our life, not just our business, right? It is safe to receive and earn money right now, even if it's feeling like doom and gloom. It's still safe for you to earn that. It's safe to be visible, and it's safe to really show up and become the leader that you are here to be. Remember the basics. Again, stay in this entrepreneurial energy, because it's all about adaptability. It's all about flexibility. We have been speaking about this the whole time, and now is the time to really just show up, right? This is actually putting it all to the test. As an entrepreneur, as a business owner, we live with a level of uncertainty, and now the world is starting to live with a similar level, being from whether it's working, business, health, and it's just bringing everything that we already know and have been learning and implementing to a whole new level. So again, adaptability, flexibility, nervous system flexibility, emotional regulation, everything is so vital right now. So again, I feel that we are definitely in the best place to be able to actually bring on this new world, this new energy that's coming out, and be able to really climatize to it, because we really need to adapt there. Leave the old way of doing and being behind and bring in this new state, because your state really will matter when it comes to your business, when it comes to your life, when it comes to your health and relationships. So do the work to stay in love and not fear. Really vital. Okay, so again, take action now, even if you don't have it all figured out. This is your time to shine, guys. It is time to really show up. The world needs you on such a massive scale. And again, we really get to put to test what we have been working on for the past couple of months. And in fact, what entrepreneurs, are now starting to realize as a skill for themselves is actually a massive skill for everybody. So time to shine, show up, show that it's still fine to be doing your work. In fact, it's actually very needed. Okay, so into the advanced group strategy. So Again, now is the time to show up and be your unique self. So people need a lot of lightheartedness at the moment, but they also need a lot of healing and compassion. So don't be like everyone else. Show up in your own big personality and shine your bright light exactly as you are supposed to be. And of course, as part of the advanced group strategies, which we do go into in the 7-day intensive, but I want to make sure we are very, very clear. It's time to start showing up in other people's groups and be consistent. So choose your groups, start to show up, whether it's in the Heart Centered or in other groups. We know that some people are not interested in that group anymore, and that's absolutely fine. But if you do have a level of following in certain groups, don't just leave there, maybe just be in there just a little bit less consistently, but still at that consistent level, okay? And there are some amazing groups, and even now there's some even more amazing groups popping up. Okay, so now this is an advanced strategy that is really, really good if you are creating your own group, which I do recommend. So creating weekly events in your group, such as a healing once a week. Maybe it's a Friday intention setting workshop each week, and a Monday intention setting workshop each week, or a Friday freebie healing each week, or a reading day. At the moment, I've gone back to a lot of basics to help with this level of uncertainty with people. So I am showing up every day in my group as a 30-minute freebie, whether it's a reading, a healing, a meditation, an awareness, an aha, something to be able to, serve my clients every day in my group. And I recommend that you create some type of weekly event or even daily event, especially whilst you are starting out. Okay. Some way to be able to connect to people each and every day. So you can use the hashtags that I use in my group or the Heart Centered group, similar style, or you can do a completely different group depending on what your outcome is for your ideal clients, right? Okay, so we need to put aside a little bit of time each and every day and make sure that it's something, and if you can do something that's a little bit unique for that group, not just what you've been doing on your lives or your trainings, that's going to be really, really important also. So do something a little bit unique there. This is a nice little thing to remember. So pick one day to approve, a little hack here to approve your new members. So make sure you friend request them. And the reason that I say pick one day, possibly two, depending on how fast your group's growing, is because you're going to be able to follow a certain process so you don't lose them in all of the busyness of creating this group and just everyday general business life. So I usually create one day, that I will, okay, let's look at the group who is actually requested. I will then approve them, friend request them, build and nurture the relationship, always by sending them a private message like, hey, welcome to Abundance Inspired Entrepreneurs. Love to have you here. What is it that made you want to come in? It'll be some sort of question because I'm opening a dialogue, Remember, it does take 7 to 12 communications over Messenger to actually sell, or email, or, the ways we've already discussed. And everyone knows this, but it is time to lead up and shine and show up right now, okay? So all the top earners know that we need to be in communication, consistent communication, and right now the world needs connection on such a massive level. So it's time to really make sure we do this. So differentiate yourself by connection, by using that Messenger app. We've got so many amazing tools right now, guys. I mean, how grateful are we to be able to have everything we've got in this amazingly unique time. We can show up on video, but make sure we be consistent, okay? I find videos in groups are definitely a really good way. It's the time to release the fear and lean into the spiritual truth that showing up and serving is the only thing that really matters at the moment, okay? So being unattached to the outcome. This will trigger you, okay? But it's not about you if people don't respond or they do respond. And I put that in there again because it is so, so vital. We must understand that it's not about us, it's about them. Okay, so if they don't message you back, it does not mean that you're a terrible person. It doesn't mean they don't want to work with you. It doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong. It could just be that they are extremely busy. Could just mean that they've got a lot of stuff going on. And let's face it, people are completely overwashed with lots of different things at the moment. So don't make it about you. always make it about them. Become really unattached to the outcome, but just show up like the leader that you are. Now, 5 ways that copy can attract more. Okay, so 5 ways that you can actually learn on how to really start to attract your ideal clients. Okay, so although I did write this wrong here, but that's okay. So speaking their language can really start to attract people in. It will get their attention straight away. Addressing their pain points, what's going on for them right now, will also definitely start to attract them. Building trust and credibility with them by really speaking their language, and entertains and encourages them and makes selling fun. It makes all of this fun, and we really need a lot of fun right now. So this is the easy way to craft headlines that really hook people, and this is what I call the 5S headline framework. And there's a few different things I'm going to be touching on here. Really, really important at the moment is, of course, to be specific. It stirs curiosity, and this is F5S, sorry. Specific, stirs curiosity, strikes a chord, sizzles with personality, and states a fact about the offer. Okay, use words that attract attention and evoke emotion. In the workbook you're going to be getting with this, I've actually put in there quite a few different ways that I have been taught to create copy. There's a few different ways, but they all are similar in the respect that we really want to create that hook, right? And so I've actually added that in for you as well. How to be specific. Okay, so this is the 5 S's. Right now I'm going to dive a bit deeper into that for you. So all creativity should communicate in a nanosecond. So use numbers, times, steps, stats, percentages. List key or core benefits. Address a burning pain area. An example for this might be a free 5-week e-course that shares easy to use strategies that slash your shopping bill by 50%, which is, you know, nice and simple. It tells you exactly what's going on here. It says 5 weeks, so it's really very specific, and of course that 50%, you're using all of that to really vital in your copy. It's going to make it so much easier. Use attention grabbing words. For example, discover, easy, free, why, at last. So using attention grabbing disruptions, for example, at last, the unbeatable way to lose 5 kilograms without giving up your favorite foods. Okay, so don't be afraid to go against the norm. And another great way to really start to get those hooks and headlines and taglines is to study BuzzFeed headlines, TED Talks, things like that, that you know people, you know, have already had some great results. Okay, guys, so it's about taking calculated risks. If you know that certain TED Talks, like I've said to you, given you before, have had massive views, then you know that people, you know, it's in the collective conscience, and it's going to be easier for people to understand. How to strike a chord, that next S. Use words your clients will recognize. Use client, you know, if you are a spiritual leader, a spiritual business coach, you would use spiritual words, whereas if you're not, you wouldn't use those, what people might claim woo-woo words, right? Empathize, not patronize. Evoke an emotion by conveying something of value. For example, the painless way to get rid of grey hair. Oh my God, look at that spelling error there. And wrinkles in 4 weeks. You can see that my copy is really good there. How to sizzle with personality. So use words you would normally use. Okay, guys? So another way is to use conversation to create connection and conversions. Don't be afraid to be funny and quirky. For an example, 35 days to shift from best kept secret to online superstar with ease, epicness, and effing earning awesomeness. This is a way that people might be able to really attract to you. If you do use certain words a lot, make sure you add them in, and I'm going to dive into that as well, especially in the workbook today. Okay, so now 5 easy ways to infuse personality into your copy. So again, you don't need to write all this down, guys. I've got a massive workbook for you today, and lots of examples and different ways to be able to create copy. But this is just 5 easy ways that, you know, you can use to infuse personality. So create connection by conversion, Share fun facts, share fears, feelings, and all of yourself, right? Share things like that on social media, in your emails, in your videos. Choose words that reflect your real life personality. So for me, I always use amazing, amazeballs, all of these different things that I use all the time in my everyday life. I am, I suppose, in some ways very Australian. I like to use a lot of slang, so I use that in my copy a lot as well. Like I say, hey, beautiful, hey, hun, you know, all of those things, and I really use that because that is me and it differentiates me, right? Another really good tip here is to go short and snappy. So 3-syllable words, 3-line sentences, 3-sentence long paragraphs. So don't go, and that's the 3-3-3 model. Don't go using massive amounts of words with the copy, especially when it's just trying to hook people in, okay, guys? Because it will, you know, just deter people. Remember, people are really busy at the moment, okay, guys? So just be remembering of that. Make metaphors your best friend. This is another great way to really start to tap into the collective conscious. And you know, when you're making fun metaphors and fun, you know, facts and things that you really like to use, the words you really like to use, people just love that stuff, right? Because it infuses that fun and entertainment, with references to books and movies and recognizable brands. So for example, if you love Harry Potter, you could be using all of those amazing, you know, metaphors and taglines throughout all of your copy, and that could be a way that you differentiate yourself from other people. Even a lot of adults still love Harry Potter and they really understand it, right? They really just get it, and of course it's just such a big thing that everyone's going to get it. That's just an example there, guys. So you also can use taglines. So one way to dive into that, into the process of creating copy that may work for you, is to start with a tagline. This was one of my first taglines, and I, like most of you, have done a million different courses. I did a full course on, you know, how to actually get the message out there, and it's changed dramatically in the past 3 years. But this was my first tagline, which is still relevant to some degree. So, Pure Abundance Coaching, experience success with confidence, because it's all about, you know, releasing all of those emotional, energetic blocks and getting the success that you really deserve. Some other tips here about your copy. So we're still on copy, guys, and again, you are going to get an amazing amount of copy information in your workbook, so do not stress. The first one here is to be open to inspiration. So remember also to be open here. So if you're thinking about your ideal client and the copy you want to write for them, or your copy you want to, you know, really hook them with, it may come to you as, you know, an odd time. It might come to you at an odd time, sorry. Like, for example, I often get lots of ideas when I'm in the shower or walking, or even doing the dishes or cleaning. And that's when you need to write it down or put it down somewhere, right? That's, be open to this inspiration, this divine ideas that will come to you, of course, because we are all connected, especially as impact-driven spiritual entrepreneurs. We understand that everything's out there, and when we're open to receiving that next level of inspiration, it will come at a completely random time, right? Those couple of words or sentences can really be the trigger for the rest of your content in so many different ways. So just allow that inspiration to come in. And I call this working with the divine, which we all know we all do all the time. We are co-creating. So this is part of that co-creating, just being open. And the way to stay open, of course, is to be grounded and, of course, do all of your work that you need to do each day for your own energy, especially right now. I always ask for the most benevolent outcome, which I've shared with you. And that's like asking for that outside support to really come in. Okay, so for you, it may be like you could use this process for asking for guidance to help to focus your mind on the task right now instead of, you know, getting stuck in the collective fear. You could or you could really like distract yourself and take a break when you're stuck, and then that allows the inspiration to come in. So we really do need to make sure we're giving ourselves a lot of time there. Your mind will continue to work on that problem in the background if you just ask and then let it go, right? So that's how we're really being open to that divine inspiration. Making sure that you're creating copy from the heart. So how we create copy that isn't like, sleazy, and make sure that we express ourselves as authentically from our heart as possible is, I love telling people to learn the rules, but break them when it comes to direct response and marketing copy techniques. So this is a really powerful lesson. So direct response is about understanding how to get someone to take an action, whether that is opting in for something, purchasing something, signing up for a free call, clicking an email, and so on. Before we learn the tactics and techniques, feel into what's in alignment for you, and what is it that you understand would be in alignment for your ideal clients. Really take a beat and take a bit of a breath and feel into that. What does it mean to break the rules, and then to have the rules and then break them? And what does it mean to be totally different than anyone else? How does that feel for you? Before we go against anything else, we need to make sure that you're following your intuition, right? We need to make sure it's in alignment with you. That's how you are creating copy from your heart. It's going to come through more as more authentically when you just start to make sure you're in that authentic state. People are really savvy, okay? They can smell, a blueprint straight out. They can smell someone that's just going through the list. But when you're feeling into your alignment and, putting your ideal client top of mind, that's when that creating from the heart is going to really come into it. Use your authentic voice. Again, it may also be as simple as using I when you speak or you write, but try doing a recording or something and having it transcribed, and then sort of going a little bit more authentic, sort of ad lib. Then use that sort of place to release anything that's coming out there, so you can really be authentic. And right now the connection is going to be really, really key. Okay, what else? So right here, that's the authentic is so vital when it comes to copy. Okay, another great tip here that I wanted to share with you is creating readable copy. Okay, it has to be readable, especially when it's obviously in written form. Think about how your people are reading your copy. Make it really easy. People are reading your copy probably on phones, right? They don't have a lot of space, so make it easy. Put extra lines in, dashes or capitals when you want people to really, something to really stand out. Take risks and be playful, and of course, take the skim test. Have we heard about the skim test? I've got a ton of information about that in my booklet, and I will go through a little bit of that with you now. Okay, so when it comes to the review process, do that skim test, and this works particularly well on sales pages or longer pieces of copy, emails, etc. However, you can also apply it to other things as well. So what is a skim test? It's about looking at the way people engage with content such as a sales page. I'll go back to that one so we know we're going through the skim test here, because people are often in a hurry and they're going to skim over content first before deciding whether or not they're going to read it, right? Put your hands up if this is you. This is definitely me, especially now. There is a ton of information that I feel I need to be informed with all the time, and of course just normal everyday life. So take the skim test when it comes to your information. They're going to check headlines. Is it something they're really interested in? And then their eyes are going to typically scroll over the left margin out to the right, and if something grabs their attention, then they will read it. So a reader will focus initially on that left margin, okay, which is why it's so important to be nice and clear. So be careful not to use too much centered text or add too many pictures on the left side of the page, because the left margin is where their eyes return, and having that left margin that is all over the place makes it really difficult for people to absorb that copy. There's one lady in particular that I'm thinking of, and it's not about pointing someone out, but there's one lady in particular that somehow I got onto her email list, and she writes all of her emails centered, like literally everything's just centered, and it doesn't have a left margin, and it completely dysregulates me every time. And I had to literally unsubscribe, and it's not because she's not amazing and has amazing content. It just literally would get me unregulated. And in certain ways, if that's part of your strategy, that's fine. But for me, it just didn't do it, right? So just be aware of that little tip there. You know, when you're reviewing your copy, look at where the eyes are going, okay, to skim the page. So the headline is out it's usually out from the left margin. So skim the page and see what stands out for you. Are the right things jumping out at you? Are the things that aren't so important or more prominent on the page jumping out at you? You know, what is it that you really want people to get from that copy? You also need what's called signposts, okay? So that tells the reader where you're going. So you can create these with subheadings, which will also break up the copy, and people's eyes will usually end up in the bottom of the content. So make that important also, and this is why we use the PS, right? We've already spoken about that, but these are really good tips on how to get even better with your copy. So the signposts are, you know, a really great way to think about your copy when it's emails, posts, you know, maybe even creating your offers and creating what you give out to your clients or your potential clients. Okay, so we've already focused on the PSs in part of the previous week, so I won't go too much into that, but there's also like a FAQ at the bottom right of any sort of page that sometimes can be really, really vital. You just need to include that to provide some answers about maybe payment plans and other things as well. You can also include answers that are essential to provide other people, you know, other information that really people are looking for. So the skim test is about acknowledging that most people are in a hurry and that they're going to scroll through your content, okay? And that's really important to have really clear, succinct headings, subheadings, and an inviting left margin to encourage the reader to fully engage. So in reality, most people won't read every word, okay? They just won't. So it doesn't have to be, you know, perfectly crafted sales copy. Instead, consider how they will engage with your copy and use some of the tricks and tips that, you know, I've just talked about there, okay? And it's, again, all this information is in your worksheet for today. It's a massive one. Also, you want to check, do you want long or short copy? Okay, so if people's attention is short, you know, should you write a short sales copy for your, you know, online presence? To answer this question for yourself, you really need to see and feel what's right for you and your client. So sometimes it's depending on the actual offer, depending on your specific offer. For your like shorter offers, obviously you want to keep it really, really short. For your longer or your bigger, more VIP offers, you might want to go into more detail, okay? And you might even do like a bit of a split test, you know, where half the people have a short version of your sales page and the other half have a longer version. So test the numbers, and this is what we're talking about when we talk about analyzing. Test what really works, okay? Creating, if you are creating sales pages, it's a great way as well. Okay, so this is like the 5 mistakes that people make when it, you know, comes to making copy. They share the features and not the benefit, which we have spoken about so many times. Must share the benefit, the outcomes, the results. They skip the social proof, they skip the testimonials, and people need that because they need to build trust. This is how you build trust, guys, okay? Their copy doesn't paint the picture of how the offer will solve a problem, okay? They write a sales page or a post for everyone, which we know it doesn't work, okay? They may take their personality out of the picture and then people don't even really resonate and they don't really know it's their copy, you know, it just doesn't grab them. It's not really attractive, right? It's just something that we need to be aware of. So don't do that, and I go into more detail in that when throughout this workbook, because there's a huge amount there. So be vulnerable. We have spoken about this before, and there is a fine line between being vulnerable and oversharing, okay? But being honest and true is going to be really key, but not to the point of, you know, oversharing with content there, with information about yourself usually, okay? So how do you find that edge when it comes to vulnerability and oversharing? Where is a place that will really push you out of your comfort zone when it comes to revealing who you are and what you really stand for, what you really want to, you know, be sharing with the world. So sharing some of your deepest struggles, especially in our industry, it really will reveal what you're made of. And that's where sharing vulnerability is really so powerful, because people feel that authenticity in it. It doesn't mean that you have to share every detail, okay? But it does mean that you know, you can share what's been real for you and what's been really meaningful for you, and maybe even lessons around that, okay? I know a well-known speaker, you know, who still feels really sick every time they get on stage, okay? And they'll often reveal that to their audience, like I've said to you. Reveal it. Just be honest about it. If you are feeling nervous, say it. Be vulnerable. Say exactly what's going on for you in that regard, okay? So, you know, what is it for you that really excites you? What is it that scares you at the same time? Where do you show up, you know, as a raw and real human being? You know, how can you be more vulnerable? So focusing on, you know, how you can do that for people. And I've already gone through why copy can sometimes fall remarkably flat and not good. And so let me just check if there's anything else besides the huge amount of, and I'm talking about a massive amount of information about copy. Oops, we're going into analyze here. There is amazing content in this workbook that I have shared with you, and we've gone on this a little bit more, but I just want to give you a few different ways. So there's also the cheese copy process that I've written in here for you. This is another popular way to write copy. And the internet, you know, it's made it, you know, really crowded. So we need to be, you know, really different in the way that we write this. So creating disruption, we've spoken about this, and I'm going to go into that more into that workbook for you, but it's just another way. There's a few different ways to do this. The next part of week 8. Now, this is the exciting part. It's all about analyzing the data and getting, you know, really clear on what's actually been happening and how you are going to refine, shift, and pivot. So I want you to go over your Facebook for the past couple of months, your personal, your business page, your groups. How many times have you showed up? How many enrollment calls have you got? You must be doing this, you know, very regularly, at least at the end of this 8-week or 9-week course, because again, we really want to know exactly how so we can start to analyze this. Have you been jumping on enrollment calls? Have you been offering out enrollment calls? Have you been following the process and being consistent? You know, maybe even going over your Instagram or whichever other socials you've decided to use. And then, you know, making sure you're keeping track. This is all about keeping track so you can actually refine and do the work around it. So how many Facebook posts? I want you to literally write this down. How many likes, how many comments, all of that stuff. What words and do the little bit of research. So when you've done a post, say for example on your Instagram, and it's a picture of you, and you've got a nice little you know, explanation or, you know, a bit of information there to help people understand that they might be going, you know, from problem unaware to problem aware. When you put a post up with a picture of you, are you getting more likes, more comments, more views? Or if you're doing a video, or if you're doing literally a word post, right? This is where we need to be starting to analyze now. What's working for you may not work for other people, and this is where this analyzing and really getting clear on the data is going to be really key, okay? Go into the details on your socials. There's a little button down the bottom of Instagram, for example, that looks like a person. You go into there, go into analyze. You can see a ton of information about your specific, you know, posts, about your specific data. Who's, you know, what times are people showing up on there? Who's actually viewing it? Is it more females? Is it more males? What age? You've got all of that information in there. Please use that right now to do your refining, to do your work, right? To make sure that we know exactly, this is where we do the study. This is, you know, we speak about the cortical learning. We study, we do the test, we get the results. As an entrepreneur, we take the risks, So we take the test, calculated risk, but still risks. Then we get the results, and then we do the study. What worked, what didn't work, and this is where we're at, okay? So how many calls have you booked? Have you been able to convert? When you're on the sales calls, have you been following the process, or have you been speaking too much? This is one of the things that comes up for me. Have I been taking over the conversation, and how can I release that and actually allow them to speak more, right? Because when I do that and I'm able to really dive in, I have a lot more conversion, right? What words are you using that is getting more attraction? So if you've been calling yourself an abundance breakthrough coach and it's not resonating with your ideal client, do you need to call yourself something slightly different? Really simple, but still different, right? This is the time that we get all of the data and we pivot and we make, we make a lot of changes, not a lot necessarily, but slight changes that can have a massive impact on your bottom line. So do you offer feedback forms when you are, doing a webinar or a video, or when you are even doing a free call? I have an automatic email that goes out, and people often respond to that, and it gives me great feedback. So if someone's jumped on a free call with me, whether they converted or not, I'm getting feedback. Right now, at the end of this course, I will be giving you all a chance to give feedback, because again, we can only know what's working and what's not working through the feedback and through the results that we're getting. So it's so vital. Offer free feedback forms. Ask about the good and the bad. Ask about what's really worked for them. Ask about what they would love to improve on. It's not always going to be exactly what you would have thought, and that's okay, but getting other people's opinions and perceptions is going to be vital, okay? Add that automatic email after a call, which I do as well. Add a feedback form at the end of your course, which we spoke about. And don't forget to ask for testimonials. Don't forget to say, have you enjoyed what's the good part of it, is also asking in a lot of ways, what's a great testimonial, okay? Actually, I'm going to just give you a slight bit of information on testimonials here. Just bear with me, because there's a few ways that you can get testimonials. So there's a few great testimonial questions that I will just offer to you right now, and I might even add it into this little booklet here. I've got it in Word doc, and we're going to make it really nice and clear for you. So you might ask questions such as, what did you feel like in your body to step into your newest updated version of yourself, or what is it like, sorry, what did I write here? What was it like spending the last 8 weeks with me? If you've got an 8-week course, how did you feel before and then after the 8-week course? And there's a whole heap of questions I've got here. I'm definitely going to put in there for you guys. How were you feeling before the course? In one word, in a lot of words. How did you feel afterwards? What has evolved since the breakthroughs, the shifts, the income, the clients, the new ahas, right? What were your biggest ahas? That might be another way. What was Rebecca like to work with? What was, put your name in there. Let's have a look here. How has your relationship to creating content changed? How has your relationship to making money changed? What else do I write here? And actually, I might put some testimonial examples in there too, if you'd like that. That might be really cool. Okay, so really, really important now to do the research. And remember, this is the time where you get to make a slight pivot. If things are not working, now we get to make a slight pivot. We don't want to change the whole niche. We just want to make a few little changes. And of course, right at this very moment, in this live round, we are going through a once in 100-year epidemic and pandemic, all of that stuff. So, this is the time to be flexible. Okay, now we know more than ever that you are flexible and you are able to pivot and, do better and be better in a lot of different ways, because we are solving people's problems, and right now it's really, really blatantly obvious what people's problems are. They are, of course, safety, that level of safety in their body, immune system, health is a big one, but also just, I believe their nervous system is getting a whole new, level of I suppose of feeling unsafe that a lot of people have never actually had to experience before. So it's going to be a lot of emotional healing here. A lot of emotional resilience needs to be built. And of course, we need to come out the other side, with full agency. And it's going to be a huge, huge process, guys. So be aware of this. And it's not that you want to profit from people's illness or anything like that. It is actually our job to help solve the problem. All right, to help solve the emotional problem, the energetic problem, whichever it may be that you have for your business, right? So remember the process. We build, we implement, we serve, we review. At the moment, this stage is the review stage. This is just the process. Always follow the process, okay? Serve and pivot. At the end, we serve, we pivot. What's worked, what hasn't, then we go back to the beginning. This is the whole process here, guys. Go back to week 1. What's worked? What hasn't worked? How can we tweak the program? Do we need to create a new program? How do we create that new program? You've got every single thing you need right now to be able to create as many programs as you want. If you have any questions about any of the weeks, make sure you bring them to the live Q&A. You must show up on that live Q&A or at least ask a question. There is free coaching and even healing in that Q&A on Friday. So make sure you show up for yourself, show up for your business. I'm going to leave this open for another few weeks for sure, due to the fact that the group open for another few weeks, and I'll probably be doing some healings and Q&As and different things in there over the next couple of weeks due to this just extraordinary time. I want to make sure that everyone understands the exact process this whole 8 weeks has really been. It's just amazingly massive. So make sure that you show up there. And I want to thank you all from the bottom of my heart, from everything that we've been going through. So, whoops. So if there's any other questions, guys, please, please, please show up in that Q&A and do what you can to go back over all of this content. This content is gold. It is everything I've used to be able to create my business and make multiple sales monthly, whether it's smaller clients, bigger clients. I still sold a $6,000 package last week. People are still buying. Yes, maybe offer some different stuff right now, but people are still buying, guys, and people need you more than ever. So be aware. This is only the beginning, and you can always go back through this process. I'm so, so grateful to sending so much love and attention out for you today. And yeah, I can't wait to see all of these results right now. It's going to be absolutely incredible. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So amazingly blessed.